Okay, so this is just a quick answer because I'm on my weekend here scrolling through Facebook, and I saw this question about venous insufficiency and whether or not the venous insufficiency actually, or vessel insufficiency, the person said, caused them to have orthostatic hypertension. And nobody answered so far. So I'd take a quick stab at it as a board certified vascular surgeon, just off the top of my head, what I know, and try to kind of help out a bit. But if you guys want to see videos like this, basically subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll try to keep making as much of these videos as possible throughout the next couple of years. It's all going to be free vascular education. For me, what it does is it keeps me focused and keeps me studying, keeps me relevant in terms of what's new on the literature, and answers a lot of questions that I never really thought about. At least this way, I don't have to answer it in a clinic in front of the patient for the first time. I can actually look at what kind of questions you guys might ask when you walk in, and now I can actually give you real, actual information. So I'm actually becoming more intelligent. So the person's question is about whether or not their vein insufficiency, because this is in a chronic venous insufficiency forum on Facebook, whether or not their vein insufficiency is actually causing them to have orthostatic hypertension. And the answer is yes and no, as always. My answer is always going to be kind of like these gray answers. The reality is, when I was in training, I was never really taught that, like, oh my goodness, it's all about peripheral and superficial venous insufficiency, and varicose veins is the cause of orthostatic hypertension. No, in fact, I was taught that there are a myriad, a large number of different things that can cause orthostatic hypertension. And those go anywhere from the nerves of your body, which could be more or less like, let's just say the nerves are shot. So that could be like your baroreceptor in your carotid. You can look that up, might be shot. And that way, when your blood pressure drops, you don't have an adequate response because the signals are not sent to the brain to send signals to increase the sympathetic fight or flight sort of responses and squeeze down all those blood vessels and return the blood back to its kind of like normal pressure inside of the vessels. As a result of that, because you don't have enough pressure in your vessels, because there's not enough squeeze on your peripheral vessels, then if your blood pressure stays low for some period of time, then your brain starts to notice, then you start to get dizzy. Normally, that doesn't happen. Normally, you get up from a seated or laying down position, and after few heartbeats, really, your body senses the drop in pressure. Everything kicks in. The nerve senses, send signals. The veins of your legs and thighs and buttocks and your, just general body veins and volume just kind of squeezes all down quickly, and just by a small amount, but enough to stop the drop in blood pressure that happens in patients who have orthostatic hypertension. At least orthostatic hypertension that's symptomatic, because many people have it but may not actually have symptoms because it's not happening for long enough. That's where these gray areas are, right? So I could have it right now and I just don't even know. I mean, actually, to be honest, sometimes when I'm dehydrated and my blood volume is low, I have had a light-headed sort of sensation. So maybe I do have some orthostatic hypertension when I quickly go from laying down to standing. But is that pathologic? Is that just kind of like, hey, it's kind of cool to be a human, or kind of unfortunate to be a human, kind of living? And many people as they get older, just a lot of people as you get older, all of us are going to have some degree of damage to our nerves, and we're far more likely to have orthostatic hypertension as we get older. And then there's a whole bunch of other things like Parkinson's disease. People with Parkinson's disease don't have as much baroreceptor tone. The medications that people give for many of these diseases actually kill the ability of the blood vessels to constrict. You can look up a list of them, and you will find all these medications. There's just so many things. I just can't even know where, I don't even know where to start on this one. Now the big question is, do the veins actually contribute? So if you had Parkinson's disease and you also had venous insufficiency, which one is at fault? And I don't know the answer to that. I do not know. And I don't know if anyone knows the answer to that, because nobody knows each human and knows how bad each human's Parkinson's is and how bad their venous insufficiency is. Do they have deep vein insufficiency? Do they have superficial vein insufficiency? Do they have deep vein insufficiency in all the veins and all the valves, or just a little bit of deep vein with a lot of superficial? How bad is all of these things? And then, are there any other contributing factors? Is the person drinking coffee? Are they dehydrated most of the time? Do they drink enough water in the daytime? Blah, 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 blah. There's a whole bunch of reasons. And so the truth is, yes, absolutely, I was taught that vein insufficiency, deep vein and superficial vein insufficiency, definitely causes or contributes, I should say, to orthostatic hypotension whenever somebody gets up. But how much, I am not sure. What I do know is that orthostatic hypertension is very common in our population. I do know that you probably should see a doctor or a cardiologist or a primary care or family practitioner first. If you know these are your concerns, I wouldn't go straight to vein insufficiency. I would go to something. I would go to test all the other things. There are algorithms out there. You can look up algorithm for treatment and management of orthostatic hypertension online. Look up a picture, and I guarantee you, vein insufficiency is not number one. So, and you know, I even for this person actually, I'll just tell you, I actually looked up a study. I tried to find this on PubMed. I tried to look up a study to see if I could actually give data, real meaningful data. There was one study I found, which means already like, how much do we really know? Not that anything's wrong with the study, but how much do we as surgeons, as med doctors really know? If you're not super specialized in orthostatic hypertension and cardiovascular medicine, how much do we generally know? And so the question is, this one study found like, I think it was like 600 patients that I looked at, and they measured the blood pressure before. Yes, they had a drop by over 20 millimeters mercury after the patients stood up in the systolic, and more than 10 millimeters in the bottom number, which is called diastolic. And they treated them, they treated their superficial venous insufficiency, and it did get better. But I don't know how much it got better, and I'm definitely not going to recommend that. Like, hey, your management, you know, is just get your superficial veins treated, and then everything will be okay. I think that would be a wrong approach. But I do think that the logic makes sense. But is this the answer to your question? I don't know. I hope it's helpful. Good luck with your journey. And again, if you think this video was helpful, I mean, there's so much more I could talk about. But if you think this video is helpful, you know, subscribe and ask me another question, and I'll try to give you another answer if I have time. But I'll try to make time this year and next year.